Right. Okay. We're live on. Sorry about the. It's. I'm way overexposed here. You know when you sort your cameras out and you go, "That's it, great," and you go live and it's all crap. Yeah. Right. Hang on a minute. Okay. Anyway, enough of my moaning. It's John McLaughlin. Hope you're well. It's the weekly mastermind that I do every week on a well Wednesday. But I was trying to break a real nocturnal habit I've got. I've got a really bad habit. I always talk about getting the good habits, and I've got one of the worst habits you can have, which is not being able to get up in the morning and then being really active at nighttime, like some kind of weird nocturnal vampire or something. Anyway, I'm trying to break it. So yesterday I just stayed up. Um, that's why I kind of put it back because I was just talking gibberish at the end of the day, trying to do videos and then falling asleep randomly. So here we are. So it's Thursday. It's the mastermind. Generally, we cover a number of different questions that I get in from people about all things marketing, online marketing, affiliate marketing, network marketing related. And you can actually come on live as well. So if you want to go, I'm just looking at my notes here. If you want to go on to the session, okay, if you go to johnmclaughlin.co/mastermind, you can sign up for the session and you can come on live. You can get your questions answered. We can have a chit chat if you want to. Okay, I know most people like to submit their questions in the background, but it's so much better to come on live and submit your questions there, and we can sort things out. Right. Okay. First thing I want to talk about this evening is YouTube. Now, if anything like me, and I've had my YouTube account since 2007, and when YouTube kind of first started, it wasn't really the platform to well, it was a platform to get leads, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now with influencers and people getting millions of subscribers and the kind of business model it is now. So a lot of people like me used YouTube as just somewhere to put videos. Like if you've got a sales funnel, you want somewhere to stream those videos in, we used YouTube. And then YouTube, in their wisdom, decided to shut a lot of accounts down. We called it the YouTube slap. Back in the day, you'd say you'd have lots of subscribers and lots of videos on there, and you'd wake up and they'd all gone. Okay, that happened to a lot of people. Didn't happen to me, mainly because I wasn't using it to do much with, just somewhere to put videos. And then over time, what happened was I started doing videos. I started thinking, okay, maybe I should start to develop a following, even though I wasn't actually engaging with people. And here's a big tip: if you do anything on social media, go full circle with everything. So upload videos, optimize those videos, and then engage with your audience or engage with other people. It's so important to do the whole circle, not just upload videos. And those videos, again, got to be high quality and optimized and that sort of thing. Anyway, back to the story. So I've got 440 videos on my channel. Okay, a lot of those are talking about one particular subject or one particular playlist. But there should be more than less than 3,000 subscribers. And when you upload a video and you go, okay, I'm optimizing it in the best way I can. SEO was one of the things I used to do. I produce good content, or I think I do anyway. Always got to be improved, but I think I produce decent enough content. Why am I not getting optimized? So I looked back at my account. So if you go into your YouTube studio, go into all the settings. Number one, what keywords was I trying to rank for? And one of the things I did in the past, and it was a real big mistake, is I mixed up niches. So I was in the online business space. Then I decided to learn about trading and learned how to do forex trading and decided to intermingle that. And it was like, what do I do? Do I go in one direction and open a new YouTube account, or do I just blend the two? And my thinking at the time, which was wrong, was okay, well, the channel's about me, so therefore blend everything and tell people what you're doing. And in marketing, nothing's about you, it's all about your audience, okay, first and foremost. But secondly, the algorithm just didn't know what the hell I was doing. So it was like, what's he doing? He's doing trading or is he doing online business? We don't know. So we're just going to leave it. Okay, so you mess up your chances of kind of boosting the algorithm and getting your videos delivered to the right people. Remember, all you're doing with with these social media channels, including YouTube, is you're just trying to talk to an audience, but you've got to talk to it in a certain way to boost the algorithm. They're algorithm based. Okay. So they're based on logic. So I looked at my keywords. What are the keywords for my channel? And they were completely out of date. Okay. So I changed those. What happened was subscribers went up a bit. Then I looked at all my videos, bearing in mind I've got, 400 now many. And I looked at my first videos and they weren't even optimized at all. They had the wrong links in. So they were going to uh, an old an old website that I don't have anymore. So that's not going to help. Wasn't really optimized. And the other thing as well, there was no tags in a lot of them, and it was just poor, really poor. And there was like no end screens. There was no what do you call it, thumbnails, all that. So I thought, right, okay, there's only one way to do this, and that's go through each one by one, and start to change it and start to re-optimize it. And that's what I did. And it's made a big difference. Okay. So generally, I haven't really posted a huge amount on my YouTube this week because I've been kind of busy doing stuff. But they've jumped up quite a lot, quite significantly. So that is working. Yes, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it because YouTube is a long-term thing. The other thing I was going to say as well is that I forgot what I was going to say then. But yeah, it's worth it because it does take time to go through it, and that's what I was going to say. I did use a tracking link shortener, and it was a third-party software that I used. Used it for years, okay? And without even telling me, they turned it off. So all these videos were optimized with this link tracking shortener, where I got all the information about who was clicking my links. They turned, excuse me, they turned the software off, didn't tell me about it. So all the links were useless, which again tells the algorithm what? What does it tell the algorithm? Tells the algorithm this person's left the building, okay? Even though you're actively still doing videos. So another tip is if you're going to put links in, hyperlinks, make sure you own them. So make sure even thanks. It's always the big bite that goes past when you're doing a video. So even something like Google Link Shortener that I used to use years ago, it got turned off. You haven't got control of it. So whenever you share links for a long-term project, make sure you own the asset. Okay. So something like get your own hosting, do it on WordPress and have something like a pretty link, or even if it's just your own blog.com, whatever. Okay. It makes a big difference and it will save you in the long term. So yeah, optimizing your YouTube, just do it and go back and look at what you've done in the past because I tell you what as well, you'll be shocked at some of the stuff that you've put on YouTube or you've put on social media and you go, God, did I really talk like that? Did I really present like that? Was that really my calls to action? And if not, then have a look at what you're doing and sort of try and refine the process. When you building a business online, you constantly refine that process. And when you go back and you look at your old videos and you go, holy shit, they look pile of crap, then that's good because it means you've progressed. Okay. If you go back at your old videos from 10 years ago and you go, wow, that was great. Okay. And you're not making the results, then you've got some work to do. Um, what was the other thing I was going to say? It came to me and it went again. This is the problem with being semi-nocturnal. I should be wide awake now. It's 11 minutes past midnight in the UK. Um, so yeah, make sure you're in control of everything. That's what I was going to say. I had a lot of videos on there from old sales funnels that were unlisted. And if you've got an old video that you're not using, get rid of it. I don't know what the thought process is behind that. For me, it was just common sense that if you've got litter in the bin, get rid of it. Okay. If you're not using it, get rid of it. And that's what I did. And again, it put the subscribers up and the views up as well. So it's all going in the right direction. Now, if you think of a brand new channel and you see these young kids who go, "Hey, I've got a brand new channel. I started this channel 3 weeks ago and I want 100,000 followers before the end of the month." And you think, you twat, don't you? When you're our sort of age and you're struggling to get views, and you get this young gun who comes on and does it all right, perfectly, right from the start. Okay, that's just a generation thing. And when people are brought up, they're born into a society that has got the internet. They've got the internet and they use it. Um, what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but they use it from birth and it's all part of them. Okay. Us, the internet was an addition, an extension of us. Okay, it becomes part of it's so easy for these young kids, but they do it right from the start. Whereas we've got rubbish, and we've got things that we think we should have, and we've got that evolution of social media, and we end up not having the best optimized channel. So if you go back, optimize stuff, get rid of the stuff that isn't being used. I wouldn't say get rid of your videos. If there's a video on there that you don't like or it's not niche specific, then make it private, and at least you'll keep the views. Okay, but you've got to be quite careful that you do it in the right way. Okay, so that's YouTube, and it makes a big difference. I may well do a training. I think I probably will. Let me know in the comments if you want a training about that. I can put it on my YouTube channel and just show you. I mean, there's going to be loads of information available anyway. But yeah, let me know. Okay, back to the questions. So I get a lot of questions on Marley Gen Secret because I do a lot of videos. I did a case study. I'm still doing a case study, although it's a sort of an episodal case study instead of a day by day one now. Marley Gen Secret. And if you don't know what it is, it's a platform where you can get co-registration leads. They'll give you 100 leads every single day that you can promote every 24 hours, and you can promote anything. And it's a good little kind of way to get leads in and to just get some traction, some momentum in a business. Now, the question is, would you use Marley Gen Secret to promote a network marketing product? So here's what I found from promoting Marley Gen for the best part of probably 5.5 years now. Um, what we found, I've promoted everything from free stuff to network marketing products, because I'm involved in Live Good, to affiliate marketing products, high ticket, low ticket, everywhere in between. And here's what I found. If you promote something that involves starting a business, then yes, you will get customers. They will they will convert into customers, but they don't stay around very long. Okay, 1 or 2 months and they're gone. And the other thing is as well is that when you get a customer and they interact with you and they go, "Do you think I can jump on a Zoom call with you?" Absolutely, you can, because you're putting yourself out there. A lot of Marley Gen customers don't actually respond to anything, in my experience. They don't respond to emails, they don't reach out to text messages, they don't respond to anything. Okay. Because they're co-registration leads, they don't know who you are. And obviously they've gotten to know, like, and trust you because they've gone out and they've become one of your customers, but they don't become very engaged. So in terms of a network marketing business, you've got to be engaged with that. You've got to build a team. You've got to, do the whole training and motivation. If they're not involved, then they're not going to sustain that very long. The same goes with any kind of affiliate marketing product where you've got to build a business. What does work extremely well, and what works well for the midterm, I won't say long term because I haven't got any long term, but people have stayed with me for at least 6 months, is promoting clickbank products. And the clickbank products that work really well with this particular lead is the work from home jobs type thing. Now, I've bought the product, I've looked at the product, and essentially it's a case of getting trained, going through some very, very basic training, and getting a job online in the live chat sort of agent type thing or whatever it is online. There's loads of these different jobs, and a lot of people kind of get involved in that. And what that can do is that can generate a marketing budget for you. So you go out, you promote Marley Gen Secret as well to these leads because that works well as well, and that is recurring income, and it that works well in the work online to your regular leads. So get your regular leads involved. But the co-registration leads, they work really well with ClickBank. So do that. It's a double-edged sword. And what I find is the mileage and secret, a lot of people poo-poo it because essentially they haven't gone a lot of people have gone through a process, and you're not going to please everyone. And everyone's going to have an opinion because, it's the most important thing to them at the time is their opinion. Um, but there's five different income streams you can generate with mileage gen. And when you look at those different five income streams, they're pretty powerful for a tiny little kind of, I won't say two-bit, but it almost seems like a tiny little two-bit kind of opportunity or a business that you wouldn't have thought ordinarily would pay very well on the face of things, but on the back end, when you get everything set up in the right way and you're just consistent with it, then yes, it does pay well. Um, so in terms of promoting the network marketing product, if you want to get involved with Marley Gen, follow the process that I show on my YouTube channel. I think I talk about how to, what's it, how to turn $60 into $10,000. They're not made up numbers. They are very conservative numbers, by the way. Um, so generate an income from Miley Gen, promoting ClickBank products, use that money as a marketing budget or some of that money into a marketing budget, and then go and promote your network marketing product or whatever you're going to do. And that's the best way. Because I was talking to somebody today on the WhatsApp saying what you don't want to do is spend the time warming those leads up, and then they become a customer, and you go fantastic, and then the next month they've quit because that's more or less what's going to happen. Okay, so don't ever do that because you're going to be wasting your time. Okay, so ClickBank, use the money to go and promote something else. Okay, hope that helped. Let me know if it did. Okay, I know my answer is normally quite long-winded, but for good reason. Um, right, so I saw your video, break free from the crowd. And what's wrong? Okay, what's wrong with the? Okay, let me read that again. Okay, I saw your video, break free from the crowd. What's wrong with the word literally? Right. Okay. So in the video that I did, I talk about language patterns, and what you'll find is with trends, particularly on social media, is language patterns start and they take hold very quickly. And before you know it, everyone's using the same kind of word. If you follow Formula One, I'm just trying to think of it now. There was a word they all used to use in Formula. Other drivers used to use the same kind of word. I can't remember what it is, but they all use the same kind of word. And then they get told, hang on, guys, you're using the kind of, can you change it? Okay, so they change it. But the word literally is used everywhere, and it's an emphasis word. And what I found is that yes, it is used in the right context sometimes, but for most people, they use it because they don't value what they're saying. So it's an emphasis word. So they try and they put more emphasis on what's being said by including these kind of literally. I it literally took me 2 minutes to do it. Okay. Why do you need to feel the need to insert the word literally? Okay. Yes, use it in the right context, um, but don't use it to emphasize what you're saying because what it does, it then to your audience, subconsciously they don't they understand the word and they understand the reasons why it's happening. Consciously, they may not even hear the word, but what it does, it groups you into a certain category of person. And the category of person that you get categorized in depends on your audience and what they've anchored the word to subconsciously. So if you're going to stand out and be a leader, then think about what you're saying and pay attention to what you're actually saying in your videos as well. So watch them back. So these emphasis words, think about why you're saying them and do you really need to include them in your vocab when you're doing videos or when just in general day to day. So there's nothing wrong with the word literally, but what you've got to be aware of is what it's doing to your audience and in the minds of your audience. So be very mindful of what you say and be very mindful of the way that you say it as well. And if you look at the language patterns over the years of leaders, it's really interesting. If you look at Margaret Thatcher, for example, the UK Prime Minister in the 80s, 70s and 80s, I think even 90s, wasn't it? The way she changed her language patterns, and there's a film about her. Um, how she developed the ability to hold and command attention is all language based, you know. But if we insert these, these words that literally, then it kind of puts us in a certain category amongst the majority instead of stepping out and being a leader. Okay. So it's kind of important to do that. Do some more research on it for yourself, um, because the other side of that coin is that if your audience are used to your language patterns and they know, like, and trust you for that, then anything that you do as a not a forced change, but any changes that you make, you have to make them in line with your current audience. Otherwise, you'll scare them off. Okay, so that's kind of it's not going to happen for most people, but just be mindful of that as well. Okay, but yeah, it's a really good question. So thank you for adding that as well. Um, and let me know in the comments again if that helped. I know it's quite a deep subject and it's quite a deep one, but yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of people can learn from. Right, next question. So, I loved your video content in the key to business. Oh, sorry, let's say that again. I loved your video content. Oh, sorry, I loved your video. Okay, comma. Content is the key to business. In it, you said if you don't like creating content, do something else. Did you mean this literally? Did you mean this literally? She ends with, yeah, okay, I like that. Thank you. Um, yeah, so I was doing the video. And that video was just a random, okay, phone's in the pocket. Let's just press record, talk, and see what happens. It was one of those. So it's called, yeah, the content is the key to business. And I talk about the content that we need to develop content as content creators, as online business owners. And if you don't like creating content, then go and do something else. Yes, it was quite a blunt statement, admittedly. Um, here's what I like to do when I'm doing videos and when I'm teaching. Most people don't listen to anything. Most people, they start watching a video. Okay, I mean, I think the average watch time for that was 9.5 minutes, and that's like half. So probably most people didn't even get to that point anyway, of where I said if you don't like doing content, go and do something else. But what it does, it's to capture attention, and it's also a truth. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But the other edge to that, if you want a third edge, is I want to motivate people to create content. Because when you start creating content, let me tell you, it's the easiest thing you can do. It really is when you're documenting your journey. And I was thinking about this question earlier. It's a bit like if you remember the film, I think it was Rocky 3 with excuse me a second. I always get really thirsty on these. Probably because I'm not talking. I think it was Rocky 3 where Rocky is matched with Clubber Lang, okay, Mr. T. Really scary character, really hungry for the championships. And the first one he loses, okay. And I suppose you can say that's the majority of people, they start the online business world a bit like when he first fought Clubber Lang. Oh, I'm not really sure. I'm a bit scared about this thing. Okay, I'm going to do it anyway. And they get beaten up. They get beaten up. And then you end up in this dilemma where you're thinking, "I- I'm a really cut out for this, you know. And you've got people like Apollo Creed going, there is no tomorrow, there is no tomorrow, and you've got this fight, and the fight really is just an internal fight with yourself. And then something has got to switch. Something in you has got to switch to say, right, sod this. I'm going to do this business, whatever it is, and I'm just going to do it regardless. And you go out and you do your training, okay, and you do it with a passion. And your training essentially is getting in front of a camera and talking. And remember that scene where he's fighting Mr. T? I'm spitting everywhere now. He's fighting Mr. T in the final fight, and Mr. T's punching him, and he's going. I'm not sure if it was that one or Rocky Five. I don't know, but he's punching him. He's going, yeah, not so bad. Yeah, not so bad. Come on, give me some more. Yeah, that's all right, not so bad. And I think there's a bit there where he's with his trainer, And he's saying he's getting beaten up, and he goes, no, he's not getting beaten up, he's getting mad. And it's a great scene. It's wonderful. I love it. I love all the Rockies. But that scene of it's not so bad is when you've done a video and you put it on there and you go, that was easy. That wasn't so bad. So what? And you fight. The fight isn't with the club alone. The fight is with yourself, you know? So when I say, uh, if you don't like creating content, go and do something else. A bit like, well, if you don't like fighting, if you don't like fighting in a ring and you've lost a few times, yes, I will fully help you to get back in that ring and defeat your opponent. But if you're really not up to it, then retire. Go and do something else. Okay. And that's it. And you need the passion in your business. You need the passion for why ever you're building your business. And what I'm finding is that more and more people are quite happy to sit back and go, well, actually, you know what? Life isn't too bad. And I'm doing quite well at work. And never do that. For God's sake, never do that. Never, ever stop something and then justify a decision by thinking things like that because it's it's um it's not the way. So think about it's not so bad, okay? Because you know what? Doing video is the easiest thing you can do when you're doing stuff in your business. And even if you don't know anything, if you I always say this and nobody takes it on board, so take this on board. If you're brand new and you've signed up to your first company or you've signed up to your first affiliate marketing business, tell people why, because that is power that is power in itself. And if you're genuine in what you're saying, do you know what? This is you doing a video. Okay, hey, my name's Dave. This is my first video. I'm not even sure if I got the video right, but I'm just going to talk anyway because this is what I've been told to do. Now then, yesterday I joined XYZ company, and let me tell you my backstory first, because and you go into your backstory and you tell people your hurts, habits, and hang-ups, and going into why you started the business. You don't try and sell them, okay? You don't try and sell anybody anything. It's not about that. It's about sharing experiences and sharing your stories. As soon as you go, as soon as you start selling, what happens? You go back to the other question. You start inserting the word literally and wonderful and super and great and smashing and all that crap that people come out with. And as soon as you do, guess what happens? Your audience goes subconsciously, he's trying to sell me. Let me go back to watching what I was watching. You interruption. But if you start sharing stories, you start showing real experience of people, then people go, you know what? That guy's saying exactly what I was thinking. And I haven't started that company yet. Do you know, he's talking a lot of sense, this guy, because it's exactly what happened to me. Do you know what? Who is this guy? Okay, it's John. Okay. Let's go and follow John. Let's go and see if John's got a YouTube channel. Oh, he has. Okay. Before you know it, you've got a lead. If you keep talking sense and if you keep talking in that way where you're genuine, you'll get customers. You'll get customers. But how many people, when they're brand new, do that? None, or hardly any. So if you're brand new to this and you're watching this video, get the camera out, get your phone out, and tell people why you joined. If you haven't joined, tell people that. I mean, the power is immense. The power is immense in what you've got in sharing your stories and sharing your experiences. The biggest problem to doing that is thinking you haven't got any power, is thinking you haven't got any experience, and is thinking that whatever you say has zero value because you haven't even got started yet. And that is so untrue. Okay. And if you think of your life experience up to now, of all the things that you've learned, of all the failures that you've endured, of all the things that you've got over, all the shit you've been through, all that can help your future audience. And I say audience because it's your audience that if they become customers, that's irrelevant because they are your audience and they will eventually become leads and customers. But you can share that with them and people will resonate with that fact. Okay. And that is powerful. Okay. Um, yeah, just get in the ring for a start. Get on the road, get training. Okay. Which means just see yourself doing it. See yourself doing videos and rehearse in your head sometimes. You don't have to sit and write a script and then go, and that's, excuse me, let me take a slip of this. Sometimes that can be the worst thing when you go, well, I'm not really happy doing videos, but I'll happily write out a script or I'll get an auto cue, which are pretty expensive anyway. But reading from an auto cue is a skill in itself. And what happens is when you talk to the camera, to your audience from a position of genuine authenticity, you're talking from here, okay, whichever it is, whichever side it is, that side, wherever. You're talking from your heart, okay? So it goes from your heart to your head to your audience, okay? And people can see that. Subconsciously, they can see that. Okay. It's like in putting the word literally in. Okay. Literally, it only took me 2 minutes. Okay. It goes from your audience, it goes from the ears to the brain to the bullshit detector. Okay. And they turn it off. Okay. So try and avoid these things. When you talk from an auto cue or you're rehearsing a script, it goes from your brain. Okay. And it comes out to your audience and people know that it's been rehearsed, or people can tell when it's been auto cued because you're kind of doing this. Hello, my name is John. Welcome to, and I mean, that's a really bad, poor example, but you get the idea. Even the best autocue readers in the world, you can tell the reading from an autocue because there's this barrier of kind of coldness. Okay, think about the news. So just share your experiences. It's so valuable. It doesn't matter if you think you're bad on camera. Do it, get it out there. Do it again. Do it again. Okay, like the Chemical Brothers. Okay, so yeah, it's a really good question. I've covered quite a few bases with that, but it's important. Right. I see you've changed the homepage of your blog to a quiz. What is the quiz? Okay. Yeah, my original my original homepage, which I launched not too long ago, was a multiple choice. Are you an online business owner? Are you a Forex trader? Okay, so I click it, and that just reminds me I've got to change something else. So they would click it, and it would give them the appropriate kind of thing. Now, the thing is, with anything that you do in business, if you give people no choices, click here, get started, then people will click here and get started. If you give somebody a choice, you'll get less people being able to make a decision. Okay. And my homepage was full of different choices. So what I did, I changed it to a quiz because a quiz is a big invitation, and the quizzes tap into a couple of, or a number of different psychological modals. First thing with the quiz is they're answering questions about being an online business owner. What sort of an online business owner do you want to be? How much money do you want to make? How much are you currently making? Those sorts of things. And it categorizes people into a different kind of bucket. So by the time they've answered all the questions, it gives a score and they get a relevant and appropriate answer to whatever they're doing. Okay, so it's relevant to them based on their answers. So the first thing is you've got the commitment and consistency theory, which is from small commitments come bigger commitments and more consistency. So by doing that, what people do is that they'll click something and they'll be like, oh, I'll click. And the more they click, the more they get into it. Okay, it's only five, I think there's 5 questions. At the end of the questions, they get their answers, but they have to subscribe to get their answers. And that subscription then takes them to a training. So it's an introduction to a training. So the introduction is, okay, your score revealed that you want to develop online courses. Okay, fantastic. Here's the ramifications of that. And if you click the link below, it shows you a much in-depth, more in-depth training where I can show you how to get started today. And it does. And I spent plenty of time creating 5 different trainings on the different things that they're going to look at. So that's really it. It's a filtering process. So the first psychological modal is the commitment and consistency theory, where, from small commitments, you get bigger commitments. And also something else called the Zeigarnik effect. And the Zeigarnik effect essentially is people get bothered by and remember tasks that are unfinished. And it came by, in fact, it's on my blog, an article on my blog, johnmclaughlin.com, of a Eastern European, I think she was Russian, she's a female, can't remember her first name. But she went to this restaurant, and obviously she was a psychologist, and she was looking at the waitresses, and she thought, well, how do the waitresses know who has and who hasn't paid the bill? And she came to the conclusion after some research that the waitresses remember bills that are unpaid, and people remember things that are unfinished, and it bothers people that are things that are unfinished. So it's things like if you're talking about crisps, you'll say, okay, we've got cheese and onion, we've got ready salted, and we've got salt and the other one. Okay, so it's things like that where now you kind of, if you've been listening, you've been screaming, it's vinegar. Okay, so people hate it, and it's also to tap into the Gazanic effect. If you want engagement, here's a little tip for you. If you want engagement on your social media posts, post something that is wrong. Okay. Hey, by the way, I've just mixed black and white together, and I've got a new shade of purple. It's fantastic, and you'll get loads of engagement saying, "Excuse me, I'm an art teacher, and you don't get purple from that. It's actually grey." Okay, but it's a way of getting engagement. If you look at what's going on right now with all the nonsense on social media, what I mean by nonsense is a lot of the almost psyops operations of AI and fake news. And now because of AI, it's getting more and more difficult to know, although subconsciously we know, but consciously it's getting more difficult to know the difference between what is real and what is fake. And then you sometimes you come to a conclusion as you go, well, is my whole life actually fake? So for example, one of the great stories that have come up recently on social media is the SpaceX rescue mission. And there was loads of people talking about it, and I don't really get involved, but there was one particular picture that showed, I think it was a failed rescue mission, and they said we're ready to go. And it was 4 of the astronauts in the seats, all suited and booted, ready to go. And I looked at it, I looked at the picture, and to my mind, from a filmmaking and from a photography perspective, the lighting was all wrong. The the lighting was all wrong. The lighting looked like it was in a studio. It was a studio lit uh, picture, and they were passing it off as we're ready to go. Here we go. And it's little things like that where they're so subtle, it invites people to to um, to post because they seal that because sometimes the the CGI, or should we say the footage on a lot of these things are so rubbish that people go, this is fake, this is fake, and you get thousands of people saying it's fake. So you got 2 schools of thought there. You've either got the whole thing is fake, or you've got they're putting CGI out there that's so bad it's getting people to engage. So it increases engagement, therefore it increases the share price of the company. Um, because you'd have thought for a company like SpaceX, they'd be able to put CGI together that would blow any Hollywood filmmaker out the water. In fact, they could hire as many filmmakers as they wanted to. They've got that much, in the way of money, but they put out this stuff that looks completely rubbish. And then you've got the landings where people, with the dolphins, and people are saying, look, it's the dolphins, but they're claiming that it was fake because the wash didn't look right. And then when you start looking at it, you go, maybe it's true. But it's there to engage people. And crikey, I've gone way off the subject talking about quizzes, but it's all relevant. Um, it's there to engage the audience, and it taps into those psychological modals. And you can do something like that without going to the expense of either going to space or making it up in a quiz funnel. And quiz funnels are really, they engage in a very similar way. That's kind of why I went on that tangent. Big tangent, by the way, but that's why I went on it. Um, and yeah, quiz funnels really engage your audience on a different level. And I would definitely recommend getting a quiz funnel. In fact, if you consider the old way of getting leads, okay, I've got this wonderful lead magnet. It still works. It still works in the way you still get leads. But how many times have you actually downloaded a lead magnet and never looked at a damn thing? And I look at my lead magnet and say, yeah, yeah, never even opened it. So you've got to be a lot more, uh, what's the word? Canny. You've got to be a bit more intelligent in the approach, and you've got to understand the psychology behind why people do things. And the quiz funnel works really well. And as you know, I use the funnel builder quiz funnel, and I can do as many quizzes, as many funnels, as many things as I want to for $25 a month. And yeah, that's an outright plug because a lot of people are getting ripped off with software these days as well. And software is getting a lot more expensive. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you've got 4 or 5 different softwares that you use, you've now got to really kind of mindful and careful that you cover those costs. If you don't, then you've just got a slightly more expensive hobby. Excuse me again. And what I do right now is I look at the price a lot more because everything now is monthly. When I first started, like my Photoshop that I use, um, I don't even know if you can buy it anymore. Like I bought it, but it was a one-time price. It was $53 in 2015. That's the way I like to do business for your tools, you know. I mean, obviously my funnel builder is $25 a month, but that's an absolute steal for what you get. And if you can create as many quizzes as you want to for that price. But you've got to be really careful on price. And I don't care if the best marketer in the world comes down and says, I've got this wonderful thing for $97 a month. For me, it's too much, you know, for a lot of the things you can do. I put a lot of money into things. I've put stacks of money into things over the years, and you just got to make sure that you get a return. Okay, so that's really important. So yeah, some really good questions. Thank you for those. Yeah, so going back to the announcement, next week's session, johnmclaughlin.co/mastermind. And McLauchlan is McLauchlan. Right, I should go live on my software so I can put it on the screen. We'll do it old school and just hold it up. Um, yeah, so hopefully that's helped a few of you out. And if you've got a YouTube channel right now, uh, use it and leverage it to the best way that you can. Because I tell you what, um, YouTube is one amazing place for not just developing your brand, but for developing leads as well. You're going to get a lot of traction with that, compared with the way a lot of social media is going right now, where although I'm told Facebook is changing. I'm told Facebook is apparently they're sort of, well, I saw one video from one guy saying that Facebook is changing, but I doubt that very much. But for as long as a company is publicly traded, their only interest will be shareholders, not the people that use it. We're just We're just the power and the equity behind the shareholders, and we're just fodder for those people. Um, once upon a time, you could put a post on Facebook, a few hundred people would see it, and now it's just full of adverts, and that's the way it goes. But everything goes in circles, and the pendulum will swing back eventually. Or, well, let's leave the or to another session, shall we? Um, yeah, good. Okay, so we'll wrap up on there. So thanks for the questions, some really good stuff. I hope that's helped for this. We've been talking like 47 minutes, so that's not too bad. So yeah, join me on the next session. Reach out to me with any questions that you've got. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop me a comment. If you got some value from this, give us a big thumbs up. If you're not yet subscribed, then I invite you to subscribe as well. Really appreciate that. And we'll see you next week. Well, if you're on YouTube, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Cheers.